Welcome to this edition of When the Biomass Hits the Wind Turbine, a discussion of sustainable living and what that means for you and me. I'm Jay Warmke.
And I'm Annie Warmke. I almost forgot my name. Oh, my word.
Join us here, Annie. And today we're going to talk about celebrations, or let's party like it's 1899. Okay.
Do you know how they partied in 1899? I think they played pin the tail on the donkey.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. I wasn't there, so.
Oh, come on. That was low. Okay, that was really low.
So when we talk about celebrations, and I know celebrations mean different things to different people, but what are you feeling? I know we brought this up. You wanted to talk about celebrations, and what do you think of when you think of celebrations? Formal, informal?
Well, I think celebrations are a tool. To celebrate when something has gone well or you've accomplished something. Also for things events with people you love. And I think they really are the glue that keep us together. But I feel like we've kind of lost our way in our culture, and so it's all about money or consuming or whatever. And I know we're going to talk more about what we do at Blue Rock Station, but one of the things that I wanted to do was just to look at what are the things that we actually do celebrate in this culture. And I was hard put to really recognize what that is versus what it really
Well, before we get into the more formal and we start dissing everybody's formal celebrations, but when you talk about celebrating an event or an activity, it just brought to mind to me, whenever we do a project at Blue Rock Station with some of the interns or whatever, and it comes to the end, then we always do a ribbon cutting and
a toast.
A toast, yes.
Sometimes we have gifts.
Mm-hmm. So it really is just a matter of acknowledging some event, and it can just be a small little thing. I guess, I don't know. It's like the seasoning to the daily life.
Well, one of the other thing that we do religiously is that when somebody's been working on something, we'll say, "Oh, give us the tour." And it might be some little thing, or it might be a big deal, and we just say, "Well, let's, show us what you've been doing." And you're big on this. You love it. You'll say, "I'm going to give you the tour."
Sure.
And then I can appreciate the hard work that went into it and everything. And it's acknowledging that people are making contributions. But it's more than that, too. It's saying, well done. I don't think we say that enough in this culture. And it's also being joyous for a reason, which it seems like we have to do other things. Maybe we don't even know what joyous means anymore.
Well, for me anyway, any project, any accomplishment tends to, after a very brief period of time, fade into the background noise of life. It's like, okay, I just built this thing, or we just finished this thing. And for a day or two or three, every time you pass it, it's like, oh, yeah, that was good. All right.
Yeah.
And that's like the payoff, or you just stand back and go, oh, job well done, or, oh my gosh, that thing's crooked, or whatever. But then after a few days, you don't notice it anymore. It's just part of the background noise. And maybe it's the celebrations are those payoffs or remembrances, when they're working of your accomplishments.
Yeah, and I think that might be true, like graduation or whatever. But I also think the simplisticness of it is to say, all right, this maybe in the scheme of life doesn't make that much difference to most people, but it was important to me for this moment, and so let's take some time to savor, to honor, to relish in what has just occurred, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did that last week when Destiny ran her truck into my car when it was not moving.
I wasn't really savoring that, but I will celebrate when the hot water heater gets fixed. So I'll dance a little jig, like it's 1899.
I'm glad we can't cuss on the radio, because I think you learned a couple new cuss words.
I've used them all up.
Oh, so. Okay, all right.
All right, so let's get into the formal celebrations. Like we're now, I don't know when this is airing, but when we're recording it, we're in that dismal part of the year where the sun doesn't shine and it drizzles and rains and snows occasionally. which we call the holiday season.
Yeah, how about that?
Such a joyous time to look outside at the gray. So we're going all the way from really Veterans Day through the Prophet's birthday, which is a big one around here, Thanksgiving, St. Nicholas Day, Christmas, and so on to New Year's Eve. So really starting with Halloween, I guess you would say.
Yeah, Halloween, because that is a pagan, but that's a pagan holiday.
And that's when you put up the Christmas decorations, right?
No,
prior
not
to
if you're
Halloween.
pagan. So the thing is that I would say from the end of October until the middle of January is what I would consider to be holiday season for many different religions and beliefs. And in this culture, we only learn, at least when I was growing up, we learned about one, and that was Christian, and a certain brand of Christian. And then there were different things that we followed along that we would do based on our family and society, really cultural. So I have no idea what people do for the Prophet's birthday, which is November the 11th, yesterday. And the only reason I know about St. Nicholas Day, which is in December the 5th, is because I was very interested when our daughter was young in trying to develop some different ways that she could experience different cultures. And so we did St. Nicholas Day and put little things in the shoes at night for a fun little thing in the morning. And then we also did Hanukkah, and we had a Hanukkah party. And I think we stopped doing that when she got old enough to say, she had to say, what did Hanukkah mean? And then she could have a present each day for the 7 days. And she said, I don't want to say what Hanukkah is. I just want the gift. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, okay, well, we're done with that. But she got it. She understood that. So
she understood 7 gifts. Right?
Yeah, she did. Well, she didn't get 7 gifts that year.
Was St. Nicholas Day, I know when we lived in France, there was a day when everybody gathered downtown, and some old guy in a blue outfit came out, and everybody followed him around.
That was, he was dressed up like the Pope with the pointy hat and stuff. Yeah. I think that was definitely St. Nicholas Day.
It was pretty cool, actually.
It was, and he threw out candy.
Did he threw candy, and the kids all sort of walked along behind him?
Yeah, very politely. Yes.
Yeah, I kept thinking this.
No advertising.
Yeah, we were making fun in the village. It was brought to you by Coca-Cola or whatever. So.
No, it was a lot of fun, and everybody was very excited about it. And
he just sort of walked in a little circle. Everybody followed him, threw some candy, and then he went back inside a building.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I couldn't see why it was a big deal.
Because it's tradition, and that's a good point. Because when we have these experiences where we come to expect each year that there are certain seasons and certain celebrations or events that are going to occur, I think that is the glue that keeps us together as a culture. And then whatever we celebrate as a family or among our friends, that's the glue that says, time has passed. Like for Christmas, I mean, time has passed, a whole year has passed, and we're marking that passing by bringing everybody back together and having some time together.
Well, and I think you say is the glue that holds societies together, but it's, I think, a glue that holds a family together as well. I mean,
that's what I'm saying, Jay.
I was listening to you. You said societies, and I'm thinking about, if you look back when you were a kid, and most people hopefully have fond memories of some sort of holiday tradition that they did with their family, whether it's going down and looking at Lazarus Christmas windows. Oh, yeah,
we loved that when we were kids.
Or Santa Claus in a little parade and, freezing your butt off and jumping up and down, hoping to see something. Or I remember we used to get to open a gift Christmas Eve and then play with it and try and stay awake until we all went to midnight mass, and then have a mad rush at 5 a.m. trying to wake up our parents to open up the other things.
The thing that I think about this, because we've just been having a discussion with some of our interns back in October that had come to visit, the past interns, and everybody's big topic was Yule. What are we doing for Yule this year, which is the winter solstice on the December the 21st or 22nd, depending on how the Earth rotates. And it's so interesting because on the surface of it, there isn't one thing that makes it exciting. What's exciting about it is, one, that the expectation that it will be fun. So we play some games. Everybody gets a book that's wrapped up really beautifully in some material with a beautiful bow. People stay all night. We have a medieval buffet that people bring something to that falls within the menu instead of potato chips, and that's why we went to that, because people brought chips. And then lots of them stay overnight, and the next day we have a big breakfast that you make with waffles, and that's the big tradition. We're going to get to have waffles. Oh my God!
Medieval waffles.
They're not medieval waffles. And then we talk about our goals for the year for Blue Rock Station, and they have a voice in that. And then they decide the baby names for the goats for the year. And this is such a big deal that the old interns tell the new interns, oh, are you coming to Yule? It's so fun. And we'll stay up half the night talking and, all this, just talking it up really big. And so I said to Destiny, who was just getting ready to leave, and she's like, I'm going to be back for Yule. It's in 40 days. I've never had anybody count the days. And I said, don't get such, so excited. She goes, no. There were 5 different interns that told me the same thing about how fun it was. And I said, we don't drink. We're not doing anything terribly crazy. There's lots of visiting. We have a photo booth where everybody takes pictures with goofy hats and stuff. And it's just a lot of fun. But again, there's that expectation that it's going to be fun. And I think that's a lot of what we owe our families and our friends over the course of the year with different things, different events that we can create, is this anticipation that the fun is going to be that we are together. And whatever comes from that is good and nourishing for the rest of the year or the rest of the time until we're together again. And I think that's what celebrations really need to be and ought to be, is thoughtful time together.
I think some of what's enjoyable about the Yule celebration, anyway, for me and maybe for the interns as well, is it's maybe it's just its simplicity. There is no great amount of energy or effort required. You come, you talk to people you like, you have a good meal.
You have to move around. You're not allowed to sit with the same person twice.
Then you sit around and talk with other people you like, and you get to meet some people, you get to see some old friends, and that's just nice. I think maybe some of the sadness that comes around certain holidays is people do build up unrealistic expectations. I think it's nice to anticipate, and it's nice to go through them. It's nice to have that marker, but if you've invested so much into that and it doesn't meet those expectations, I think there's a downside to that as well.
Well, there's a really bad downside to that, and I used to feel that way about it because my life was very hard. And so I made a decision that I would buy gifts for everybody else and appreciate it that way, and then I felt lots better. And I think it's what we make it, actually.
That's very profound.
No, it's not.
The holidays are what we make
it. It is what we make it. Mm-hmm. It absolutely is.
And be sure not to watch the television. Well, we'll get into the commercialization of a lot of these holidays in just one moment. But you are listening and have been listening to When the Biomass Hits the Wind Turbine with Jay and Annie Warmke, reminding you it's the end of the world as we know it.
And thank God.
Thank God. Thank God. It's the end of the unsustainable world, perhaps. And today we're talking about celebrations. Not just, I think we all tend to think of Christmas and holiday seasons and things like that, and all of the wintertime holidays, but they come at us all year long.
Well, yeah, they're money makers. Mm-hmm. They're big money makers.
Yeah. So let's get into the to the greening of holidays. So most of these holidays, like our Yule celebration, came about as a way for people to, acknowledge the passing of the year, Yule being around the winter solstice, Easter being around
it's the passing of the sun, so the sun's going to return. It's the longest night of the year. Mm-hmm. And everybody's ancestors in every culture in the world have celebrated that in some form or fashion. So there's a realist basis to that celebration. And it's where the old man and the baby come from, which we see that in,
out with the old and with the new.
And games. And there's a lot of tradition. And many of the carols that people sing are pagan carols from solstice and not from Christmas.
And it's kind of a way, like we were saying at the beginning of this show, we were saying how it's dreary in most, Northern European and North American climates at this time of year. So you're kind of going, okay, I'm done with this already, and I know it's just starting, but it's going to get better. The days are going to get longer. Sun will come back.
Well, if you think about it, the pagans were pretty smart because they had these kind of celebrations once a quarter. So, for example, in June, when it was the longest day of the year, they had the summer solstice, and they would design buildings and holy shrines that would line up accurately so that when it was the longest day or the longest night, the sun would shine completely through to a mark on the ground or something like that. But these were high holy days, and they were wonderful celebrations. And I don't want to sound like I'm an expert on any of that. I'm not. But they had the spring equinox and the fall equinox as well. And so these are 4 times that they came together in a year and did a lot of wonderful things. I think that for us, in terms of how we live at Blue Rock Station, it's partly my fault, but I love having people come and do fun things together. And so for me, like with Yule for winter solstice, there's a lot of preparation that starts in the summertime, and we have to decide what's going to go into the Christmas poppers and how it's all going to work. And then people come and help me make the different things and wrap the books. And so it's a whole process of having time together and talking about things and anticipation. We also have Thanks for Nothing season, which is, I think, a celebration of being non-consumers from December the 1st until sometime in March. We try to get to the end of March, but it doesn't always work. It just depends on our teaching schedules. But and that's a time where we choose not to consume. So we don't go to the store and buy things. We have menus, and we eat from the food that's been preserved over the rest of the year. And
and let me just comment on the name, because you kind of glanced over the Thanks for Nothing, and it was kind of trite. It's something obviously that comes to mind. You say, hey, thanks for nothing, but it was really more of a mindset of let's really be thankful.
Yeah, give thanks for nothing.
That we don't need to consume.
Yeah,
and there are holidays in most major religions, most major Western religions anyway, that do the same thing. We have Lent, a 30-day period where you're supposed to give up something. And I know I was raised Catholic, so you had to decide, I got to give up something that sounds good, but I didn't want really anyway, so I can give it up for 30 days. I'm going to give up smoking. What? But you don't smoke. Hey, problem solved. So,
That's terrible. I think there are some people who are serious.
You want to be religious, but you don't want to have to work at it,
Okay.
So you have Lent, you have Ramadan, right, with the Muslim religion.
Where they have it.
And that's a conscious consumption thing. Don't consume during
I think they're more
hours.
serious, though. They don't eat during daylight hours, so that would be, or drink water.
Yeah.
The only way to get out of that is if you're ill or a little kid, so I probably would never age. So I'll be 10 the rest of my life. It's Ramadan.
Sick.
I'm 10. So.
I'm sick of Ramadan. I need to eat. So, all right. So those are more. But the Thanks for Nothing started as a month and then it's extended is really a sort of a thing of saying, okay, I am going to consciously not consume. And I know
you mean like buy and shop. Well, we don't. Right. After the first year, we just stopped really being shoppers.
Right, and that's nice because behaviors like that when you practice them for a period of time, and in this case it's more than 3 months at a go, it becomes a habit. It becomes something you incorporate to greater or lesser extents throughout the year.
Well, it's a vacation. It's really a vacation from a lot of the culture. But the thing I'll say is it acts the same way as when we said, let's have Yule, or the same way when every year we had a party for Hanukkah, or the hero Shiro party. People got into the habit of it, and so then they start asking. And so, our visitors, our people who come on tour, they ask us about Thanks for Nothing, and they want to know, what are we going to do? And sometimes people want to, in some form or fashion, do this with us. So they might decide they're not going to shave for the month of January, or some little thing that is in solidarity. And again, that's that glue that brings everybody together. And so this is the sort of anti-shop. It's not sort of, it is right. Anti-shopping. It's not like saying it's Cyber Monday or Small Business Saturday or whatever.
Right. And I was going to bring that up because what's happened, and it seems like it's accelerating, is this corporatization of established holidays. We saw that first with Coca-Cola kind of co-opting the whole Santa Claus thing and creating.
Well, I think the Catholics did that when they decided to get the pagans to come over and created the holiday to start with.
I don't want to blame this on the Catholics. I'm going to blame it on Coca-Cola instead.
Well, I think the Catholics were a huge entity of corporate. Okay.
All right.
I'll behave. But I just want to say that's the whole thing started there.
Back. Okay. And so I'm not going back to medieval times. I'm going back to, when you were partying in 1899. And so you've got the Coca-Cola thing. Now we're seeing it.
Well, let me say
Friday. Okay.
Let me say that if you want to go to 1899, you have to look at Queen Victoria, who loved Christmas and the whole pagan thing, and she had a Christmas tree, and it was full of gold ornaments of household items that actually worked. So this is not anything new. This is, little tiny wood stove that had little door that folded down. I mean, it was
burned on your tree. So, okay, all right. So now we're moving forward, jumping ahead.
All right,
Instead of Queen Victoria, we're on to Victoria's Secrets and Valentine's Day.
How do we get there? Wow.
So we have that. The whole Valentine's Day, buy something. Give it because this becomes, or Mother's Day.
You don't love me. You didn't buy me something.
You gotta, and the commercials that begin. So we see Valentine's Day is basically now got to buy something or you're in trouble. Mother's Day, got to buy something or you're in trouble.
But so I know we're weird, so I'll just say that right up front. But when we had Valentine's Day, and this came out of when I was living in Athens County and poor as a church mouse, but there were always scraps of paper and interesting things that could be made into Valentine's. So we just would take little paper bags and tape them on the back of the chair. And that evening of Valentine's Day, everybody would make a Valentine for each other. And then we would put them in the little bag and then look at the Valentines and share them with each other. And they were so ornately made and sweet. It was so precious. And we did this all the time that our kids were growing up. And it was fun. And they looked forward to it.
But that didn't add to the gross domestic product. So.
Well, yes, it did. We were happy.
So anyway, now we've got, I'm trying to get there. We've got the day after Thanksgiving, which has become.
Oh, that's pitiful.
Which has become, trample your fellow citizens to get a toaster or an Xbox or something.
Yeah.
And that is considered a holiday now, which is weird.
It's not a holiday. People are working.
I know. They're working at beating down the doors to Walmart.
Or people, all those
people.
So
we have Black Friday, then we have Cyber Monday, and now I'm getting emails, beat Black Friday, beat Cyber Monday, and
go camp out now.
And, of course, Christmas accounts for huge amounts of sales throughout, I've
before and after.
Like it's half the profits for a lot of companies.
Company, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how do we? Okay, there is a point to me bringing this up.
I was waiting on
that.
Other
than lamenting and saying, "Oh my gosh, they've lost the spirit of Christmas, Charlie Brown," and so we go, "All right, how do we go against this?" I know you and I have gone against this with the whole "Thanks for Nothing," sort of the anti-Christmas. But how would you suggest somebody out there, part immersed in the culture, can combat this repetitive, relentless message of a holiday means consumption?
Well, first of all, for myself, I know I have a list of whom I'm going to give gifts to. And I start thinking about what that means mid-year so that I can make some things, I can find something on sale, but more than likely I would like to find it at a yard sale or trade with somebody for what I'm going to do. I also think that we have to stop watching television. I don't care when people say, oh, but the History Channel. It's like baloney. You can do anything you want watch anything you want online without a commercial. Television is one giant commercial telling you what you don't have and what you need in order to have a happy life. I think the other thing is we have to have some honest conversations among our family and friends to say, what could we do to develop our own traditions and stick with that? So kids love to make things. I don't care where they grow up. They like to make things. So I know when we didn't have much, we made things for each other. We still do sometimes. And it's great.
Because we still don't have much, right?
Well, thanks for nothing. But no, we have a lot. And we have a lot of things we can draw on. But also, so let's say there are certain things that you want to give as gifts. Why don't you put it out there to your friends and family? What do you have? Do you have these things? Americans have a lot of stuff. So I've been lucky to find cameras and all kinds of things that I would have liked to give as a gift and traded or actually had them given to me because the person didn't want them anymore. So I think it's about planning. And this is a constant theme in all of these podcasts is planning and saying, all right, this day is coming. This celebration is coming, whatever that is. And here's what we're going to do for it, whether it's a birthday. Birthdays are insane. I mean, people start when the child is 1 year old having birthdays that cost $1,000 or $2,000 or more dollars. That is incredible. Where do you go from there? It doesn't make any sense. So what is it that we could do as a family or a group of friends that would be fun, have a potluck, whatever, and create your own. Say, we're going to have rebellion here. We're going to create our own holidays, our own birthdays, and we're not going to do it the way we're being told to do it.
Okay, so in 30 seconds or less, what would you sum up as is the value of celebrations? All right, we've seen the downside. What's the value?
The value is that it keeps us coming back to each other, and that is the whole heart of sustainability, is that we can then have fun and we create new memories of laughter and helping each other, and that nourishes us for the time that we're not together. That's the whole point of it. And anything that you want to add to that is baloney.
Okay, well, we're celebrating that you've been listening to When the Biomass Hits the Wind Turbine with Jay and Annie Warmke. Thanks for spending just a bit of time with us, and as your grandmother probably told you in holidays and throughout the year, the secret to a happy and sustainable life is...
play nice with others, clean up your own mess, and eat your vegetables, especially during holidays.
Okay, well, till next time. Bye-bye.
Mother Earth will sing, and her children will be healed. 'Cause I see the morning glory blossom in the night. I know the stars are dancing in twilight. Soon we'll be together, all will be revealed. Mother Earth will sing, and her children will be healed.
You can find more information on living sustainably in our unsustainable world at bluerockstation.com.